It's our time of the month. You know what I mean though. It is time for our monthly stock review. And oh yeah, we got a good one for you this month. Oh, it's so good. You know, a lot of YouTubers, they like to pick a new stock every month, every single month. Actually, 3 new stocks. But me, no. I like to pick the same stocks over and over again and truly, deeply, intimately review them. And really, more than reviewing the stock, what we're reviewing is the actual process of trading that stock. Because if you're a long-time viewer, then you know process is way more important than picks. Say it with me now, process over picks. Yes, because stock picks don't matter as much as how you manage that position. That's the toughest part. That's the 90% of trading that you got to do. And that's what we cover in this series. We have transformed it. We have made it better. You, me, the Fallible community, all of us. Good job. And the strategy I use is called the NASDAQ All-Stars. You can kind of see here what we have as far as stats go for that system. And this is what all our Fallible members get access to. But basically the All-Star system is a momentum system that takes all the NASDAQ 100 stocks and ranks them based off momentum. Now, if you want to learn more about how that system works, then make sure you check out this video that's going to be right up above me. In it, I explain how it works, why it works, and how it's able to succeed in the markets. But let's jump into our first stock, Workday. Remember, this used to be the worst stock in the world, but now it's acting pretty well. Now, we talked about Workday before, and I mentioned that our Fallible community with the All-Star system, we got in on December 3rd right here, right after an awesome earnings report. And actually, that earnings report wasn't so awesome. They basically just matched estimates. But the stock market liked it. The stock bounced and then kind of retraced a bit. But we were still in it, and eventually it shot up and made some pretty good gains. Now, the last video we made for March, which we made on February 19th, I think, I was talking about how I wasn't sure what was going to happen during earnings. Well, earnings came out pretty good. Workday surprised and did well, but the stock market did not like it. You can see we dropped here over 10%. And this is why earnings are tough, because remember here, Workday matched earnings and it shot up higher. Here, it exceeded earnings and then dropped 10%. So what the hell, right? Well, we weren't knocked out of the stock. I mean, we're still in it right now and it has recovered. And this is actually one of my favorite parts about using a system, because you have rules in place so you're not just getting shaken out. Like I just said, earnings, they're tough to know what's gonna happen, whether the market is gonna respond positively or negatively. So me personally, I don't wanna be trading off based off how I thought earnings were. It's too difficult, because more than the actual fundamental earnings, it's the market's reaction to those earnings. So it's more to do about sentiment than intrinsic value. And then also, when I was discretionary, when I didn't have a system, I couldn't handle volatility like this. It would screw me up. Because first of all, I never would have gotten into a stock that jumped up that high after earnings, because I would be scared about this retrace right here, which is exactly what it did. But then what happened? I mean, it came back up and just shot higher. Same thing happened here, huge drop, coming back up higher again. So as a discretionary trader, that used to throw me. But with a systematic strategy, with the rules in place of exactly when I'm gonna enter and exit things, that makes it a lot easier. And that's what I'm talking about again, process over picks. Not hard to find a good stock. And okay, in this example, it did beautifully touch the 50-day moving average and bounce. But we know that doesn't always happen. You get my point about the volatility and how it screws us up. Now with the system, we're only gonna exit if we hit a stop, or if the stock loses enough momentum that we just rotate out of it. Now, if we look at Workday's momentum right here on our momentum list, it is ranked number 7 now, with a TSI rating of 14.77. And this is a significant drop from the last video, because it used to be ranked at number 2. So the momentum is slowly going away in this stock. And I mean, with moves like this, you can kind of tell why, right? And by the way, this TSI number is just how we rank momentum. So the higher the number, the more momentum a stock has. And we're ranking the NASDAQ 100. And the way we measure the TSI is proprietary, but it's basically just a regression analysis to see how the stock is moving and put a numerical value to it so you could rank it. And the point of ranking all these stocks is that we want to be in the top 5 highest momentum stocks, right? We want to be with the ones that are moving, and we want to be out of the ones that are slowing down. So once a month, depending on our rules, we'll rotate into the top 5 strongest trending stocks. So with Workday at 7, I mean, that's not a good sign for Workday. If it keeps dropping, we'll eventually rotate out of it. Will it happen this month? I don't know. It's not the end of the month yet, is it? But if it did drop far enough, then we would rotate into a higher momentum stock. And the reason we only do it once a month is because we don't want to be switching every day or every week. It's too much. You're not going to be able to stay in that stock long enough and realize its gains, and you're just going to burn yourself out with all that trading and all those commissions. And you know, as a trader, most of us suffer from over trading, not under trading. We could do a lot better if we just took our hand off the mouse or off the touchscreen, right? Robinhood, anybody? Which, by the way, can you believe they have 3 more Robinhood remakes in the works right now? One's in space. And I'm talking about the movie, not the app. I still like the Men in Tights version. But yes, Workday. Oh, you've given us some good gains, over 13%, but it might be time. It just might be time to just let go. Trade them, don't date them, right? We'll see who gets the new rose. I've got Bachelor references, kind of. Next stock. Xilinx. Oh yes, ZLNX. You guys remember this stock? It's been like in the last 3 videos or something. And that's because we got in all the way back here, November 1st. So long ago, back when it was cold outside. Just kidding, it's still cold outside. It never ends. Winter has come. So we got in 11.1 when the system told us, and then now, how much? Oh, look at, over 48%. Oh, how nice. This stock right here, Xilinx, this is a perfect example of like the best momentum case you can get. This shows you the beauty of momentum when it's working right. Because look, when we got into Xilinx, it was #1 on our momentum list, the highest TSI. You want to know where it is now? #1, reigning champ. You can't knock him off the top of the list. Too strong. And that's why we've been in this thing for what, like 5 months almost now? And it keeps going and going. And it's beautiful because that's where you're gonna get the big returns. You get the big returns, like Jesse Livermore said, by sitting in a stock. Not by trading around, just sitting and waiting and being patient and letting it go. Let the market do the work for you. And I'm a lazy person. Why would I want to do any more work than I have to? And you remember we talked about this in the last video, but earnings came in well and this thing kept just shooting up. That's high momentum for you. And it hasn't stopped. It's barely breathing. Just keeps going. But as we also explained in the last video, we've been taking profits along the way. So our first profit target was hit right here on January 24th. So at that target, we took off 25% of our position. And then like I said, this thing kept going. So our second target was hit on February 12th, where we took another 25% out of our position. And while we're doing this, we're also moving our stops up. So by the time we hit the second target, we moved our stop up to the first target level right here. And that just helps make sure that you don't have a round tripper. And the other thing that helps make sure that doesn't happen is the fact that you took profits in the first place. Because you got to take profits when things are good, not when they're bad. So by this point, we only have a 50% position compared to what we started with. And that's just fine. Because until you take a profit, it's just paper. It can just go away. Now our next target, our third target, is all the way up here at 142. And at that point, when we reach the 142, or if we reach it, we take another 25% of our position. Now the distance between our second target and our third target is pretty large, as you can tell. But that's on purpose, right? Because even though we're taking profits off the table, we still want a sizable enough position so that we're actually gaining from the further gains. Because you don't want to pull all of your money out of the winner, right? In fact, in some strategies and systems, you actually keep adding to a guy like this because he keeps going. And I mean, you're only going to get a few winners in the market, right? And those few winners are what's going to provide for the rest of your losers and more, so you're actually profitable. But in our system, we don't pyramid. We just take profits off the table, but like you see, we didn't take too much off so that we still can make some money. And then once we hit that third target, we move the stop again to where the second target was. And then for the fourth target, with the last 25% of our original position, there is no target. We just let it run. The only time we would get out is if it hits a stop or if the momentum dies and we rotate out of it. Now, I'm not going to say this is the best management strategy in the world. You know, a lot of you might prefer to pyramid on something like this, but you know, we've been able to back test it and it's produced great results. Average 30% a year. So I mean, I'm happy. Our Fallible members are happy. I'm not in the game of over optimizing systems and having them crap out when the regime changes. But again, I'm just very happy to have a system with rules so that I know when to take profits, because that was another problem I had when I was a discretionary trader. When do you take? When do you add? It becomes difficult because if you do it wrong, you end up screwing yourself. You win on the small positions and then lose on the big ones. It sucks. Okay, next stock. And this is actually a 2-for-1 special because we talked about Starbucks in that last video, right? Well, look at Starbucks now. So we got into Starbucks on January 2nd right here. And from there, it ran pretty well for us. It ran up almost 10% before it started stalling out. And when it started stalling out, its TSI started dropping too low. So if we look at the list now, Starbucks is all the way down at 15, which is why we're not in it. So we got some good gains still. I mean, it was still a profit, but we rotated out on March 1st because the momentum wasn't strong enough anymore. And that's when we rotated into our new friend, Mercado Libre, Nacho Libre's cousin. By the way, I don't know if you guys have been watching Jablinski Gaming, but it's so good. Sometimes you forget how much you love Jack Black, but he's a true classic. He really is. But anyway, we entered Meli, which is Mercado Libre's R&B name, right on March 1st after we got out of Starbucks. And this again was one of those situations where earnings came in well and the stock just shot up and it really helped its momentum. And this is one of those strong momentum cases again where it just keeps going. So from where we entered, we're up almost 8% now. But rotation competition is coming up again, right? So are we gonna rotate out of this one? Class? Bueller? No, we are probably not, because Melly is currently ranking number 2 on our TSI list, so the momentum is still very strong. And look, it's pretty close to Xilinx's momentum too. But that's what we did, right? We jumped out of Starbucks, which dropped down to 15 over here, and jumped into the second highest guy, Melly. And that's how we keep our strategy hot, with returns coming in. Can't have any laggards, need the winners. It's cutthroat, throat's getting cut. Now, if you want to learn more about this strategy that we're using, then make sure you go watch that video that I put up here. You click that little eye thing and it'll take you there. I also put it in the description and the comments. Just go watch that video, I'll explain more. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell so you get an email notification when our next video comes out. We publish 7 days a week. It's so much fun. Come on, bring your friends. Have a good time. I heard John Mulaney watches it too. No, he doesn't. But subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Stay fallible out there. Bye.